All right, so we have some big news in the Commanders front. Not necessarily the most positive news, but it is news
Okay.
nonetheless, so I feel it should be covered. Anheuser Busch ends the Washington Commanders sponsorship,
Yeah.
and they are one of the biggest sponsors of the NFL. And for some reason, they have decided to stop their sponsorship with them. And they didn't actually release any explanation as to why it was,
Hmm.
but there is a lot of speculation that it has to do with the investigations into Dan Snyder.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. Huh. Well, that's not. I mean, obviously they're going to lose revenue based on that. I mean, does it project like what they're estimated to lose?
No, I haven't seen anything about that. I mean, I assume it
Okay.
probably wouldn't be very much because, like it said, they are one of the biggest NFL sponsors. So just because they're not sponsoring one team, I really don't think it's going to affect them. And they're a massive company, so
Right.
they can probably do whatever they want. But apparently, they were one of several companies targeted by former employees of the team who are demanding
Hmm.
transparency in the ongoing investigation of sexual harassment within the organization. So that may have something to do with it.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. Well,
But
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, apparently, two other sponsors have also cut ties with them as well, but they're much smaller sponsors. I'm not actually sure which two they were, but Anheuser Busch is a massive company, very
Yeah.
prominent in American sports. So for
Yep.
them to drop their sponsorship is really really bad news for Dan Snyder personally, but also I mean the team itself.
Right. Right.
Dan Snyder is still the owner as of now, but like as most fans probably feel no one likes Dan Snyder. He's been terrible for the organization since he's been the owner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we all obviously love the team, but like man, Dan Snyder it makes it really really tough.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
especially with this sexual harassment stuff coming up, and then we already had FedEx and Nike threaten to drop the sponsorship when they didn't change the name, or if they didn't
Right.
change the name, and then they did change the name, and then now after all of that, we still have a sponsor
Sponsorships
like
dropping.
Anheuser Busch, which is
Yeah.
not as big as FedEx because they obviously sponsor the stadium, but or Nike, but a massive sponsorship.
Right. Right.
So I don't know what that means. It may mean Dan Snyder being ousted eventually. I mean, I know most people would probably be happy with that. That also does depend on who takes over, but shit, can it get much worse?
As long as it's not the contingent of Antonio Brown, Kanye West, and that group, I think you'd be fine.
Yeah. There's actually some comments I saw on the article about this the sponsorship dropping that I thought were kind of interesting or funny. I don't know. Not a lot of negativity obviously towards Snyder, which I know everyone pretty much feels the same in that sense. But one of the comments is interesting. The same company that sells products that contribute to heart and liver disease, other various ailments, violence, drunk driving. Way to take a stand, guys. Like,
Yeah.
which is actually kind of a good point. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. It's like
but
you
yeah,
guys are an alcohol,
right,
distributor.
right. It's like, come on,
So
guys. Like,
yeah.
you're really gonna try and, you know, um, what's the word
I
I'm
mean,
thinking of?
Dan Snyder was probably liquored up on your beer. When he made those sexual advances. Honestly, let's not be coy. And I was actually pulling up the list of I was like, okay, so what beers does Anheuser Busch even make? And honestly, the list is fucking
Oh,
immense.
dude, it's tons of
So
them.
like,
It's
so
tons of them.
there's the obvious ones, like your Bud Lights, your Bud
Bud
Light,
Light,
yeah,
Budweiser, yeah. But
Budweiser,
there's
exactly.
so many more.
But yeah, yeah. I mean, like there's a lot of them. Like they make Land Shark, Johnny Appleseed, um, Goose Island Brewery. Um, they've got a few. They do King Cobra, a few of the different malt
That's
liquors.
weird. The biggest thing is
Yeah,
Bud and Bud Light, like Budweiser. To
yeah.
not
Shock
have
Top.
Budweiser available and
Yeah.
Shock Top, well, I don't know. Is Blue Moon not then? Blue Moon might be
No,
different then.
no,
They could
it's
probably
different.
provide that. But they are going to have to go through all this bullshit to try and get other sponsors to bring in beer that's, it's not Budweiser. Maybe they get Miller or Coors or, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be necessarily the same thing. And it's just a big headache for the team. And I don't know. It's just bad news, man. I'm looking for, I
Yeah.
want some better news in this, but I feel like until Dan Snyder is gone, it's going to be shit like this is going to keep happening.
Yeah, I mean, we felt like it was close. I mean, there were all the reports that maybe him and Stephen Ross, the Dolphins owner, were both going to get maybe ousted in the same week, and then
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
still
like a
hear it.
couple weeks ago or a month ago. Yeah, there was like a lot
They're
of
like
news
all the
about it.
owners are getting fired.
But you know what? With this happening, with them dropping the sponsorship, it feels like pressure might be mounting, and as time goes
Yeah,
on, maybe before the season starts, and I know obviously it really does depend on what the other owners in the NFL decide on. It's not like it's up to the public or what we think. It
yeah,
really does. It doesn't matter. But if the other NFL owners get to a point where they're sick and tired of it and feel like it's time for him to move on, then maybe that'll happen. And I, for one, would be very happy about that.
Yeah,
But like you said, though, as long as it's not Kanye West and
yeah.
whoever else.
Antonio Brown. That
But
guy
yeah,
would
just
make a mockery of an NFL team. Like, I'm not saying that
yeah,
players should absolutely get an opportunity. I just don't know if that investing group is the group that should
right,
get
right.
the opportunity.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to cover that real quick. Like I said, not the best, not the best news, but I mean, if it leads to Dan Snyder being, taken out as the owner, then it might be really good news.
Could end up
Because
being a
I
blessing
know
in
most of us
disguise.
are really, really sick of Dan Snyder, and I've tried to give him a chance here. And he did say he never changed the name, and like he did actually seem to mean that until the main sponsors that literally keep the
Yeah,
team alive decide to drop out. Like I don't blame him for the whole name change thing, but there's so much other shit that he's done that makes him terrible that doesn't
yeah,
even matter. It's like, okay,
true.
you did one thing right to the best of what you were able to do. Because if he kept the name, he would have had to sell the team, and then the name would have got changed anyway. So,
Yeah,
like, if there's one thing I can say good about Dan Snyder is his stance on the name, and even that hurts to say because he's so terrible. I don't even want to compliment him. Ugh.
like I
All
don't
right,
even want to give him
all
credit.
right. Well, that's the end of that segment.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll have some better news in the Commanders front later on.
Yep. Make sure that you're subscribing to us on YouTube and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as well. So yeah, subscribe for more content. And if you are a Niners fan, also check in for the weekly Niners news update.
And any Commanders fans, remember to check out the Commanders Countdown. We also have other short clips sometimes, about either team if there's various news. But yep, definitely check that out. And thanks for watching.
Absolutely. Have a good night.